Good morning and welcome. We are delighted that you have decided to join us today for our Sunday morning celebration service right here at Unity of Citrus County. We invite you to get settled in. Our service is about to begin in just a few moments. It is our sincere prayer that the music, the meditation, and the message will uplift you and inspire you to become the light of the world that you have come here to be. We invite you to come and visit us in person. We would love to meet you. And we invite you to also visit our website at www.unityofcitrus.org. Have a blessed day.
Something beautiful is coming. I feel it in my bones. Something beautiful is on its way. That's all I need to know. Something beautiful. Something beautiful. I'm feeling something beautiful grow. I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray that everyone has enough. So I feel the peace. I feel the love and see done. Something beautiful is coming. I feel it in my bones. Something beautiful is on its way. That's all I need to know. Something beautiful, something beautiful. I'm feeling something beautiful grow. I pray for forgiveness. I'm praying for trust. I pray that everyone has enough. I feel the forgiveness. I'm feeling the trust. I see it as already done. Something beautiful is coming. I feel it in my bones. Something beautiful is on its way. That's all I need to know. Something beautiful, something beautiful. I'm feeling something beautiful grow. I pray for joy. I pray for freedom. I pray that everyone has enough. I feel the joy. I feel the freedom. I see it as already done. 'Cause something beautiful is coming. I feel it in my bones. Something beautiful is on its way. That's all I need to know. Something beautiful, something beautiful. I'm feeling something beautiful grow. Something beautiful, something beautiful. I'm feeling something beautiful grow. I'm seeing something beautiful grow. Something so beautiful grow.
I love that song. I love it mostly because, in the world, we can put our eyes on the things that are happening in the world. We fail to see the beautiful. And the beautiful is right here where we are. You are beautiful. This day is beautiful. There's so much to be grateful for. So I am glad that you're here. And as we see that, as we see the joy, we see the freedom, when we see the peace, and we see the love, that is what we will be able to bring forth to the world. So something beautiful. So good morning. It's always so good to see you. So good to see you, Claire. So good to see so many of you, all of you, Judy, and on and on. I could just go on and go by row, and that would be the end of the service. So I did go see my dad last week. Thank you. It was lovely. He was very happy. Thank you for that opportunity to be able to go see him. And so I'm here, and I'm glad to be here, as I always am. Is there anyone here visiting for the first time? I may have missed anybody? No? Okay, then we are family. We are family. Good morning, Facebook and YouTube family. I take a moment, if you could turn to your neighbor and say hello very quickly, and then we will turn around and say hello to our Facebook neighbor. And hello, Facebook and YouTube. Hello. All those that are joining us this way. Thank you. Well, I have, this community, there's so much going on. It really is. And when we begin to see the beautiful, when we begin to really focus on what is good, when we begin to allow ourselves to feel the joy of that, more good will be attracted to us. So I'm going to make some announcements now and then some announcements later because there's so many, but they're all important. We're having a community gathering at the end of January, the 31st, so that's Sunday, July, sorry. Where am I? The end of July, the end of July, 31st. And it's going to be quite different. You're going to have an opportunity to see the results of what we did at Jubilee Sunday. So come. All the results have been tabulated. They're ready for us to share with you and some other goodie stuff. So we will have a potluck that day. And I'm going to ask you there's a sheets of paper in the lobby to sign up for what you're willing to bring so that we'll know. Sometimes we get a lot of one thing and not enough of the other. So sign up for something in the lobby to bring on that day. That would be our potluck Sunday. We're going to just change it around a little bit so that those of you that are staying have something to eat and have nourishment and energy and be able to participate. So that's happening. I also want to say that Mary has a class today, and you can sign up. Already saw some people signing up. Atom Smashing Power of the Mind by Charles Fillmore. Wonderful, wonderful book. So you want to kind of sign up for that after service. And the last one for this morning is Armand and Angelina are coming. And so some of you really know them, and they're kind of fun and exciting. So sign up for your ticket in the lobby as well today. So with all that said and done, let us now begin to get ourselves nice and ready and prepared to enter these moments together with an attitude of gratitude and love and joy and peace in our heart. So I invite you to gently close your eyes with me and take a nice deep breath. And within that space that is you and within you, feel the joy, feel the peace, feel the love. For where we are, God is. And there is no limit to the joy and the peace and the love that we can experience and that we can give. So with this awareness, we enter these moments centered in love, centered in peace, centered in joy. We know that we are here by divine appointment. Nothing is a coincidence. And so there is something for each and every one of us today. So we invite ourselves to be present, be here, be now in this place. Release anything that you may be thinking about later or what happened in the morning. Now is the most perfect moment. And so we join our hearts and our mind, for we truly are one. And we're going to create something beautiful in this place today. Something beautiful. For it's coming and forth from the part of us that's sacred, the sacred love that will fill this room, that will energize us and help us feel renewed and refreshed as we leave this place. We are grateful for the many hands that have come together to help produce this Sunday service. Every one of them serving with such love and sacredness. And we join with them in gratitude for this community, for those that are present and those that are watching. Thank you, God. Thank you. And so it is. And so let us now say our affirmation of oneness. There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God. Now, I thought I saw Lorna around here. Is she here today? There she is. Lorna, would you come up for a moment? Come here. I want to recognize Lorna. You know, Lorna has been our bookstore manager for a very long time, 2016, right? Yes, it's 2016. Yes. So Lorna, Gary used to be the bookstore manager, and then Lorna took over. And you know what she did for us? She kept that bookstore going through the pandemic. She kept it going, and she was very faithful. And Lorna has asked for a little bit of help, so we're going to give her that help. But Lorna is very much part of our bookstore. And I want to offer this as from all of us. You've been a beautiful light in this community, and you continue to be a beautiful light in this community. You have so much more ahead of you. You do. And so I want to give you this.
Thank you.
And I want to invite Gary to come up, because Gary now is stepping into they play back and forth, these two.
We play well together.
So now Gary will be managing the store, giving Lorna relief for doing that. So Lorna will be around, and she'll be more free to help me out, because I could use some help, believe it or not. So I want us to bless them as they make this transition. They pass on the baton. The bookstore is such a wonderful place to be. We want to bless Lorna for her wonderful service, and we want to bless Gary as he moves into this new running of the store. So everybody, let's just do this together. And we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you, and we see you doing great things. Lorna, is there anything you want to say to the congregation?
I just want to thank you all for supporting me all those years, and try to help you the best I could. No matter what you asked for, I tried to get it for you. Sometimes didn't work out, but we tried. But thank you all for being here for me.
Thank you, Lorna. Thank you. It's important to acknowledge the people that have worked so diligently with us, you know. And it's also important to know that as we release, you know, when we release, we're opening our arms to the our hands to the universe. And that means they're going to be filled. They're going to be filled. Who knows what the next step will be. So, let us then we're going to go into our time of meditation. I needed to do that early. A nice time of just with that appreciation and that love that we have. We're going to ask Gary to come up and read the daily word, and then he will do the meditation.
Beautiful word for today, Sunday, July 17th. Today's daily word is trust. Trust. And the affirmation is, I place my trust in God. Let's say that together and let it kind of fill you. I place my trust in God. Yes, yes. Few things are a greater comfort than deep and abiding trust in God. When I trust, I move more confidently through life. I feel the wind at my back and am made strong in the face of adversity. In the past, I may have felt disappointed when I misplaced my trust. The things of the world are impermanent. I love that word, impermanent. Even people come and go. The truth of God as the one presence and one power in the universe and as my life is everlasting, unchanged, and unchanging through all the seasons of life. Even as I grow, evolve, and deepen in spiritual understanding, God is always my source, the inspiration I return to again and again. My freedom to seek, and discover lies in the awareness that I can always trust in God. I place my trust in God. And from Isaiah 26:4, trust in the Lord forever, for in the Lord God you may have and everlasting rock.
Power of now is always present, nowhere to be than where you are. The power of now flows oh so gracefully. The power of now is always perfect, nothing to be than who you are. The power of now flows oh so easily. Be willing to let go of everything you think you need to know. Oh, be strong enough to let go of everything you think you need to control. For everything goes away. Let everything wash away. The power of now. The power of now is ever flowing, connecting the soul to the one. The power of now unfolds so peacefully. Be willing to let go of everything you think you need to know. Oh, be strong enough to let go of everything you think you need to control. For everything goes away. Let everything wash away. The power of now. The power of now. The power of now. The power of now.
Let's just keep in that moment that the song has put us into, and let us get comfortable and feel our place in our seat, and gently close our eyes and turn inward, and come into the stillness. We're going to take a journey today as we listen to our inner self. Take a deep breath and release. Breathe deeply, and with each breath, go deeper. As we deepen with each breath, we become aware of the feeling of being in the stillness. The outer world has fallen away. It is dark and warm. In that darkness, there is a sense of all things blended into nothingness. As you rest in this quiet, centered place, you become aware of a dim light in the distance. See that light. It is difficult to determine if you are going toward that soft light or if that light is coming towards you. See that light. You are weightless, and you realize that you are happy to see this light. It feels like a warm promise. As you think into the feeling of just allowing yourself to welcome the light, you realize as it gets closer that it is more than just a light. There is a being standing before you, and you realize it is your soul's image, your higher self. There are light beings and entities present that are always with you. They whisper to you to let you know you are never alone, that you are worthy of love, and that your work is waiting for you. They invite you to release all that no longer serves you, all judgment, all fear, and just to bask in the light. Your purpose has always been within you, especially at this time. Your soul's journey is ready to express as the light being that you have come here to be. Your soul's image comes closer to you, and you realize that you are becoming one. The light entities surrounding you become softer and softer as they fade away. You feel yourself sitting in your seat and the presence of the space surrounding you. You take a deep breath. Your feet are on the floor. And you still feel the presence of your higher self. And you are sharing together. Sharing together. As we begin to open our eyes, take a deep breath and come into the presence. Your higher self, you, right here, right now. Namaste.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. So, as I prayed this week about what to share, this kept coming up. David and Goliath. And probably most appropriate, as I've been preparing for it, most appropriate for our times today. How many of you know that story, David and Goliath? It's familiar to a lot of us. You know, when I was growing up, Z and I and all my siblings, we were exposed to a lot of the Bible stories. And I remember at one of the classes saying, how is it possible that a little boy can beat up a giant, you know? And of course, they told me not to ask questions. So today we're going to recap this story a little bit, and then we're going to see what can we learn from this story that we can apply to our lives today. Because every story really has an application that we could use right here, right now in our lives today. So let's see. So the story begins with there are two armies that are facing off. And by the way, if you want to read it in its entirety, it's in the first book of Samuel, chapter 17. And so you can go ahead and read the whole thing. I'm just going to recap it quickly. So it begins with these two armies that are facing off each other. And, you know, one is on one hill, one is on the other, and there's a valley between them. And they're shouting at each other, trying to intimidate each other. And all of a sudden, among those, there was the Israelites, and then there were the Philistines, okay? And among the Philistines' army, there is a giant. You know, he's like 9 feet tall, and he wears a coat of armor that's about 120 pounds, and his spear alone is like 15 pounds, they say. And so he comes out, you know, every morning, and he decides he's quite an intimidating guy. You know, when he walks, the ground shakes, you know, all over. Nobody wants to mess with him at all. But he gets up every morning, and for 40 days and for 40 nights, he calls out this challenge to the Israeli army. He says to them, choose a man, any man, let him come down to me, and if he kills me, the Philistine army will be your servants. And if I kill him, the Israelite army will be our servants. Well, of course. Do you think anybody volunteered? No one showed up. No one. They were terrified of him. The Israelites said, oh, not me. And so, of course, the challenge kept going on. And for 40 days and 40 nights, 40 has a very significant spiritual significance. It's to completion. So there he is. And one morning, David shows up. Little David is a shepherd boy, very young lad. They don't say how old he is. He arrives at the camp because he's bringing food from his home to his brothers who are serving in the army. And as he comes, he hears this challenge, this Goliath say, choose a man to fight me, and that whole thing that he said earlier. And when David looks at the men around him, he can see that they're filled with fear. They just, they do, you don't want to even be able to even hear it. So David is horrified. He says, how can these people, the Israelites, be fearful? What is wrong with them? How could they be afraid? Have they forgotten that God has promised to be with them? And if you're with God, what's impossible? So he couldn't believe it. And I bet you those were the thoughts that he had in his mind. And then David calls out, he tells the men, who is this man that he would defy the army of the living God? Who is he? And David, I tell you, he was a young lad, but his faith might have been a simple faith, but it was strong. It was strong, and he had a tremendous trust in God. The word goes so well with today. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even read it. Yes, place our trust in God. And so when David realized, well, nobody's going to step up, I'm going to do it. I'm going to step for the challenge. And he decides that he's going to do it. And I could just hear the soldiers kind of laughing at him and thinking, what? You little scrawny little kid? Someone like you is going to fight a giant? What's wrong with you? But anyway, while they're having this discourse and making fun of David, some of the men go over to King Saul and say to him, hey, this is happening. There's this kid who said he wants to do it. And the king gets curious and he sends for David. He says, come on over. And David shows up. He arrives at the king and he's, very confident, very assured. He says, no one needs to be afraid because of Goliath. I'll fight him. And at first, you could just imagine Saul was like, well, I don't know, this is such a good idea. Do I feed this young lad to that monstrous warrior? So he holds back a little bit. But David is persistent. David knows his God. David has had experiences where he has been delivered before. And he tells the king that I've killed a bear and a lion, and I can certainly take on a giant. How many of us remember when we've been through our challenges that we have gone through and we have made it through? And we can stand firmly and say, if I can do that, I can do anything. And so that's the attitude that David had. I could do it. The Lord delivered me from these, and he will deliver me from that Philistine giant. And David was so confident. And so the king is convinced. He said, wow, it's worth a try. And so he decides, okay, I'm not going to send him there just like that with his staff only and his little sling. So he takes off his royal helmet and armor and spear, and he puts it all on David, And David tries to move around a little bit. He feels very uncomfortable. It's heavy. He's never worn it before. He's never fought with that on. So he tells the king, thank you, but, no thank you. And he takes it off, and he goes off to meet Goliath with the only things that he's familiar with, the staff, the sling, and 5 stones. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So now imagine how surprised Goliath must have been when he saw this puny little pipsqueak coming down, no armor, no nothing, to fight him. So he roars out loud. Goliath says, am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? Come to me, come. And I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and to the beasts of the fields. Wow. Goliath was being sarcastic and throwing threats, and he was going to scare this young lad to go away. But he did not turn away from the challenge. He did not turn because he knew that where he was, God was. And so he turns around as confidently as he can, and he calls right back to Goliath. He's not going to be intimidated by him. And he says, you come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin, but I come to you. I come to you in the name of the Lord host, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. And this day, the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down, and I will cut off your head. He was not afraid. Not at all. You hear no fear in these words. And Goliath must have been like, what? This little pig squeak, who does he think he is? I mean, I could just imagine he was stunned. But David doesn't waste any time. He just goes at him. He just goes right to him, And when he's going, he has his sling, and there's a stone in there, and he's whirling and whirling, and when the time was right, he throws it off, that stone. And that stone moved through the air with such power that it sank into the Goliath's forehead. And down went Goliath. And David runs up to him, he takes the sword, and he cuts off his head, just as he said he would. And when the Philistines saw what happened, they were scared. And they ran, and the Israelites chased after them and defeated them. The end. So this story is quite, on the surface, we can see it. Oh, wow, this is really a kid, he's courage and confidence and faith and all those good things. But when you really look at this story much more deeper, this story is about us. It's about us. Every story is about us. And the question is, what can we learn from this story? So, we can see things that we can relate to, like challenges, right? We all have challenges. Is there anyone in this room who's never had a challenge? Because if you are, let me know how you did it, okay? So we all have challenges, and maybe we're even facing challenges right now. There might be challenges happening right now in our lives. And we always deal with challenges by looking at them from out there. There's something out there that I need to conquer. But the challenge begins, every challenge begins, and must be met in your mind. It starts there, in your mind, in your thinking. In the story, which is so filled with symbolism, we see this being played out when we pay attention. The Israelites and the Philistines really represent an aggregation of thoughts in our minds that we hold. We all have them. They are those thoughts that long to and strive to follow truth. Things that Spirit has revealed to you, things that you know. And your thoughts long to aggregate themselves around that truth. I am a child of God. I have enough. God is my source. And then you have those are the thoughts of the Israelites represent that. And the Philistines represent all the other thoughts that oppose truth. All those things that deny the truth. And we call those thoughts in unity error thoughts. You've heard that, right? The error thoughts that if you leave them in your mind unchallenged, if you let them grow, they will grow like a Goliath, and they will have power over you. And they will cause you to influence your life. The choices that you will make will be based on this Goliath that's constantly denying the truth and moving you from a consciousness of love, which is what we're meant to live from, to a consciousness of fear. consciousness of fear. See, the opposite happens with thoughts of truth, thoughts that support the truth. That cultivates and nurtures a consciousness of love. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, we have not been given a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind, of power, and of love. And when we walk around here feeling afraid because someone is saying something about us or doing something to us or something is happening here, we become victims. That is not who we are. The giant Goliath in our mind needs to be conquered. Those error thoughts must not have power over you. So your Goliath and my Goliath and everybody else's Goliath may be different, may be different than that of your neighbor. But I can tell you with assurance that it will boast and brag daily of its strength and power over you. You get frozen when you believe thoughts that are not true about yourself, about God, about life, and about each other. You can see someone in their oneness, they're part of you. You can see the situation through a different lens because you're not focused on the realm of appearance, but you are seeing it from a higher perspective. The power of love relies on God, not on circumstances, not on people, not on things. That's so much unlike King Saul, who had placed all his reliance on the things out there. That's why he was so afraid. He was relying on the army and his armor and the soldiers and blah, 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 blah. But David, no. David was the complete opposite. His reliance was on the one power, one presence in the universe, the essence of all that is. So he had no fear to stop him. What he had was a simple, you only need a little mustard grain of faith, a simple, unwavering faith in the omnipotence, omnipresence, God, whatever name you want to call it. And he went to meet the challenge, knowing in himself that he could not fail. He didn't project out there what is going to happen, what am I going to do, it better happen this way, because if it doesn't, I'm not going to quit. No, he didn't do anything. He went there knowing God will guide him, God's wisdom will be with him, his intelligence, his creativity, his power, his strength. He went with that. Now, during these times, I tell you, in this world, it's not easy. Not easy for error. It's so easy, it's easy for the error thoughts to anchor themselves in our sense consciousness and bully us into believing that we can't do anything about what's going on here. And I'm telling you today that yes, you can. Yes, you can. Every error thought of inadequacy and lack and limitation and unworthiness and not being enough needs to be defeated. They tame you down. You become the servant to them. You are not meant for your thoughts to control your life, but for you to have the power and dominion over them. so that you can show up as the light that you are. I'll tell you a story. When I was a young girl, my mom took me out of public school. Decided that I needed to go to Catholic school. I was so excited because I was going to wear a uniform. That was the only thing I cared about. I wanted to wear a uniform, especially the shoes that were penny loafers. Remember those shoes that had the shiny penny in the middle? Oh, God, I couldn't wait to get penny loafers. And so my mom went out to shop for my shoes. The uniform had arrived, and we're ready to go. And guess what? She came home with a pair of shoes that looked like a penny loafer, but it didn't have a space for me to put a penny. They were imitations, substitutes, I guess, And Mom did the best she could. Mom and Dad, we were we didn't have very much. We didn't. We lived in a very poor neighborhood and a poor environment. But my parents really strove for us to have what we could. So anyway, I saw these loafers. I was so excited, open, and went up and up, and it wasn't what I wanted. I started to cry. I said, no, this is not what no, there has no penny. I can't go to school. I can't go. Mom, please don't send me to school tomorrow. Everybody's going to make fun of me. And because I was so desperate to fit in. I'm new to the school. I don't want to stand out like a sore thumb. I'm new to the school. I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to. Oh, boy, I was worried about what people would say and think of me if I didn't wear a shoe that didn't have a penny in the middle. Can you imagine? and then I started to think, well, we just don't have enough. We just don't have. And so thoughts of lack kind of started anchoring in my mind for a very early age. I had to really work on that. The negative analysis of myself at that time, it terrified me. I'm not good enough. I don't fit in. I'm not worthy. I'm poor. And all these other things I was saying to myself. And when I look at this, those things were anchored in my mind and caused me to feel limited as I grew up. That I was afraid that I was never going to fit in or not good enough. Well, that's gone. If they show up, hey, I use my power, you don't have any more control over me. So that's how, when we accept these error thoughts as truth, because that's what I was accepting. What I was saying to myself in my mind, I was believing as my truth when it was not. And that's how we are feeling today in the world. We're focusing out there in the realm of appearances. And our consciousness is filled with fear. Because we see such when we're looking out there, all we can see is a spiraling downward downturn. Economically and socially and morally and environmentally and in our education, our political system. I mean, on and on and on. I could just go on. And we can see no good in it. Remember we opened this song, something beautiful is coming. Feel it in your bones. Feel it. Something beautiful is coming. So that you can begin to work on that consciousness so that you could align with that. Don't focus like Saul on that, but focus in you. What is it in me that I need to let go of so that something beautiful that wants to come out will come out? And we can see it. And we can stop giving this negative analysis of what our country is going through or what we're doing or whatever. Focus. See, when we do that, we're like King Saul. When we're focusing on out there, we feel powerless. We feel like we can't do anything. Now, nothing that we do will ever change anything. But that is not true. That is not true. If we do not conquer those thoughts that trap us in this fear, nothing will change. That is the truth. That is the truth. Change starts with me. Somewhere I read that one time I wanted to conquer the world, and then I wanted to conquer just my nation, and then my city and my town, and then I realized that the truth is the only person I can conquer is me. Me. So our ego, of course, will not want you to do that because you're kind of diminishing its power. So the ego will find ways to get you to blame people for the turn of events. You know what I heard? Hey, do you know what I heard? I heard about this and that and that and the other. And all kinds of something. Before you know it, there's a mountain of rumors and untruths that keep us from moving where we're supposed to be going, from doing what we're being called to do. Our ego wants that. Wants to blame everybody and point fingers and so we start to feel unhappy. The joy of the Lord is no longer there because we can see it from a different perspective. We just can't. And you've ever heard them say, you never heard this said, if it wasn't for so-and-so, I'd be happy. Yeah, if it wasn't for that person. But instead, what needs to maybe we consider this, that maybe what we should be saying is, if it were not for the attitude that I have about that person, I'll be happier. Isn't that more true? That is more true. Because it's a lot easier to change our attitude than it is to change someone else. So if our reliance were on the power within us, expressing through us, as us, like David, our strength will be renewed. We won't feel so discouraged. We will be like the psalmist said. He said, we shall mount on the wings of eagles. We will see from a higher perspective. And we shall run and not be weary. That means we will do what is ours to do. And we shall walk and not faint. We shall not give up. Unity of Citrus is being called to do something beautiful, something powerful. And maybe we need to ask ourselves, what is the attitude that I have that's keeping me from doing that? So when we mount up on wings of eagles and we are not weary, when we don't give up, we enter into a field of perseverance. That is strength. We endure, we persevere, we meet whatever is before us, the challenge, not with a consciousness of fear that will cause separation, but with a consciousness of love that we have nurtured carefully with thoughts of truth. Love is the only answer. So we must be vigilant about what we are thinking, guarding this garden of our mind, so that whenever something comes in, that we know. A child knows when they've done something naughty. Even a pet. You ever had a dog who's done something naughty and you look at that and go, well, we do too. We do too. We know what we're saying. It's not, we shouldn't be saying that. Or thinking that, no, we shouldn't. So we have to guard ourselves. David faced Goliath with a sound mind that was filled with power and love. And we can face our challenges that same way. Confident in the power of the word. David was confident. He knew that that word was going to go out with mighty power. So he met every boast of that giant with strong denials and affirmations. A denial is that you're not denying that something is happening, but you're denying that any power over you. And you're denying that thought any power over you. Remember Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, he said, "Get thee behind me. You have no power over me." That's a denial. And an affirmation is quickly followed because you want to replace that spot where that negative thought wanted to take room in your consciousness with an affirmation, a statement of truth. I am more than conqueror. Christ's presence is who I am, how I show up. David was confident and fearless and filled with the assurance that he would defeat Goliath, and we need to feel the same. I know I do. He spoke with power and authority. Never underestimate the power of your word. What you say goes forth, and it lays hold of the invisible spiritual substance that will manifest here. Your words are powerful. David knew this when he declared to that giant, you come to me. You come to me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. The power within me. The mortal self will respond. When you speak like that, the mortal self will respond because those words have the authority of the I am presence that you are. Look at Myrtle Fillmore. Look at her. She denied her. She had always thought she was so sick and she was going to die and she was going to make sure we had doctor after doctor after doctor. But then she realized some truth and took hold of it and said, I'm a child of God. I don't inherit disease. And that truth nurtured in her mind. And she began to bless every part of her body. Day after day after day. Enduring, persevering, until she was healed by the power of the word and the sound mind that is filled with spiritual truth. So those words, when we speak them in love and in faith, they will strengthen us and cause any mortal error thoughts that we are keeping in this mind to lose their power. And finally, there's so much I could say here. There's so much richness, but I only picked a few things. Finally, let's look at that stone that David threw. You know, what does that represent? That stone that landed, boop, it went right into his forehead. I thought he was surprised. That rock represents faith. The rock of faith upon which we stand, upon which we get grounded. The forehead represents the seat of the intellect and the sense consciousness that is focused on the out here. But that power of faith and love of spiritual truth was that thing that defeated Goliath right into the place where it needed to go. Sinking in, letting it know you have no power. He was not focused on Goliath. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone. He was focused on God. He was assured of his victory. Faith, when it works with love, is a powerful thing. Faith and love working together. Loving, harmonizing, binding, bringing us together. Faith in God, knowing that it is possible. So let us be like David. There's no Goliath that you cannot overcome. None. If you believe it, that is an error thought. Cast it out of your mind. Be like David. Place your reliance on the power that is within you. An amazing power. No one can take that away. It is who you are. Don't need anything out here. David didn't need the armor. He showed up as himself. Show up as yourself. The light, the love, the peace, the joy that you really are. Work on taking hold of those error thoughts that you held on to, that I've held on to. And all you really need to start off with is with a simple faith at David, in knowing that the power is within you. You know, remember Dorothy? She had the power all along to go back home. And so do you. You have the power, you've always had it, to live in peace, to show more love, to be a brighter light, and to be the change that we have come here to be. Namaste.
Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now.
Every day's a chance you can do something amazing to feel your passion blazing and shine.
Paint with every vision and dance in new directions. Explode to new heights in your mind.
I will rise up with you today.
Lift up my voice.
Lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Yeah. One dream, one voice, one heart, one word, one dream, one voice, one heart, one word.
Stand together.
One dream, one voice, one heart, one word. Stand together. Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Yeah, yeah. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Stand together.
Live the dream.
New day dawning.
Be the hope.
Share your gifts.
Let's stand together
Share your gifts with the
now.
world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Stand together.
Live the dream. Be the hope.
We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together now. Stand together.
I don't know about you, but I feel so blessed and have such gratitude for all that we do here and how we thrive no matter what. That talk spoke to me today. Thank you, Rev Luz. Thank you. But anyway, okay, now it's time for that time where we offer all that we have, and we share in that gratitude, and we give thanks for, the abundance that we receive here at the Unity of Citrus County Spiritual Buffet. Let's say that. Our offerings do so many things here, through we give through our love donations and tithes and pledges and so forth and so on, so that we can continue all these wonderful things that we do have here, guest speakers and our outreach programs and classes and so forth. So, let's reciprocate a little bit. So let's take our offering, hold it close to our heart, and just as we say the offertory blessing, let's just affirm every word that we say here. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this blessing with my blessings and my love. And just really quickly, let's take a little prayer. Divine Spirit, we thank you for the offering. We know it is given in love and received in love, and that it moves through this ministry with the energy of divine love. Out into the world is good. Each giver is blessed, for this is a law, and so it is. Thank you, God. Amen. Thank you. Let's do our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is divine. Namaste. And Reverend Luz, I'm sure you have some further announcements, so thank you.
I had a lot of announcements today, but I just want to really remind you that John Coco's Celebration of Life is next week at 1 o'clock. So it's Saturday. Saturday at 1 o'clock next week, the 23rd. So spread the word. John was very loved in this community, and we want to continue to support our beloved Helen by showing up and supporting her at this service, okay? And don't forget the community gathering. When is that happening? 31st. Okay, I want to see everybody there. And I want to invite Arbit to come up because I wonder if some of you have been wondering, what is this? Well, there's a reveal now. We're going to find out. No, it's okay there.
Let's spin the bottle.
Ta-da!
Your chance, okay, let's have some more fun. Your chance to have fun and support our Unity community. Build your prosperity consciousness while having fun. There's 4 ways to win. 2 $50 gift cards and 2 $25 gift cards. It will guess how many days will take to fill this bank. The last day of the entry is the community on the July 31st at the community meeting. The closest to fill date will win a $50 card. The second will win a $25 card. Guess how much this bank will hold. Once the bank is full, we'll confirm the final entry date. To the closest the dollar amount, we will win a $50 gift card, and the second will win a $25. The cutoff date of the announcements will be provided at a later date. The GIS ballots are in the lobby, and this will be out in the lobby during the week, and then it will be tucked away safely at night. But bottom line is, we'll be out in the lobby, 1 ballot per person. So use it wisely. And roughly speaking, to give you an idea, we had a finance meeting the other day. We put some change in the bottom. There's roughly $15 in that right now, to give you an idea. So have fun, spin the bottle, and good luck. Thank you.
And by the way, I walk out with that bottle. No, I'm only kidding. Oh my God, the thought went away. Oh, the thought is you don't only have to put coins. You may want to put other things in there, dollars, and so you never know. But anyways, thank you, Arbit, for that great idea. You'll see that bottle in the hallway. And so I just want to remind you today that we do have prayer chaplains here that will be praying with you if you need prayer. And I now invite you to please stand and let us do our peace song together.
of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's